What's up, you guys? Thank you for joining me on Every Ray Living. You already know it is your girl Rayette. Welcome. As always, thank you guys for taking the time out of your day or night, allowing me to talk you through whatever you're doing, whatever you're going through. If you are not subscribed to the Every Ray Living YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Turn on your post notifications so anytime I drop a video, cooking video, a short, any of those things, you're notified. Do not hesitate to join the Every Ray Living family. You'll love it here. We have fun. All comments are welcome, respectfully. Anything you want to ask me, any commentary you want to add, feel free to go ahead and put it in the comment box. But I just ask that everybody keep it respectful. We can agree to disagree. I'm not probably everybody's cup of tea. You're probably going to be like, I'm cool on her, don't want to follow her. That's fine. You may even feel compelled to tell me that. Because one thing I do find with people on social media, they rather tell you, throw an insult to let you know all the things they don't like more than what they do like. And that's okay too, but keep it respectful, because if you are negative and disrespectful to me, I'm going to be that way right back to you, probably worse. And then you're going to get an invite to the block party. And for those of you who are like, what does she mean by that? I'm blocking you. So I'm just letting you know, all comments are welcome, all commentary is welcome, but we just need to keep it respectful, because the reality is we're not all going to agree and like everything everyone says, but we can say that in a respectful and a healthy way where we can still have positive engagement, even if we don't all agree. But with that being said, if I can spit it out, go get you something to drink, get you something to snack on. If you don't need anything to snack on and you just chilling, welcome. Come into my room. And speaking of which, I'm kind of excited about how this is starting to turn out. I'm not finished with it. So if it's something you guys think I need to add or take away, let me know. Speaking of takeaway, this dresser, my daughter's 21 years old. So it's actually older than that because I got it before she was born. And she's 22, goodness. But anyways, it's older than that. This was brown, but I painted it. And a couple years ago, I did a video on me painting this. So this is actually my craft drawer, and I have everything in here that I use when I'm doing crafts, when I'm making things or whatever. But anyway, I just love this because I'm able to do so many different things with it. So not a stitch of clothes is in these drawers, just all my craft stuff. And this is my little area where I can sit my drink, which is tea by Simply. And then I've got my little note cards because I said I'm going to write down some things we can talk about. In the event you have some questions, comments, or whatever, you can put them down below and we can circle back to them. And then I've got my phone over here. I got it turned off so we don't have no interruptions. But anyways, you guys probably, for the ones that have been on my channel for a minute, you're familiar with the Every Ray Living sign. And Every Ray Living is just that. My Every Ray, Rayette Living. And then off to my left are the lips, and that's a signature thing, and I'm going to get off into that, maybe not in this particular video because I didn't put that on my note cards, and I just kind of want to keep what I want to talk about, in line with this, in no order, but I don't want to be throwing different random stuff in, because this, I kind of want to keep it on a somewhat of a schedule, so I'm not talking all night and I'm not like talking about random things. And yeah, so we're gonna circle back to the lips and all that, because I do have t-shirts with the lips, and it's symbolic to a whole bunch of things. So I am gonna do a video on that. Let me know if you want to see that on the next video or whatever. I'll be glad to do that. It's coming, but if you want to see it sooner, so I can explain to you why the lips are symbolic, specifically red lips, let me know. But anyway, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Mine was kind of heavy. It started out being, I'm not going to say it started out being lighthearted. It was really good. But then your girl started getting into the Diddy trial. You would think they're paying me as another attorney to follow this case or be on the case. And just so we can be clear, I have always been a Diddy fan of his music, his clothing, his swag, all of that. Loved him. But it's so jarring hearing the things that I've heard over the last week in regards to how he was so abusive to Cassie, what he made her do, to the point where it's even gut-wrenching to even think about, very inhumane, to the point that I'm so not even shocked and disappointed, because he don't know me from a hole in the wall. He could care less about how I'm feeling. But it's so sad to see someone that you liked, respected, especially what he did, to and for the Black community, to one, go out like he's going out, and just to hear the inhumane things he's did to this woman who he loves. He literally treated her like a toilet. And if you've been following the case, you would have heard the testimony where he and another man urinated in her mouth to the point she was choking. And so it's just so sad. And you hear so many people say she had a choice, she could have left, and yada, yada, yada. But she was in so much of a dill pickle. That's not even a nice word to say. That's a nice word considering what she was really in. But it's not always easy to leave in those situations. I'm pretty sure you know someone. I can't get situated. I got my robe on. I'm all relaxed. And I'm just trying to get situated. And I can't get situated, y'all. But anyways, you know what it feels like. You probably know someone who's been in an abusive situation. They hold money over your head. They hold a roof over your head. They hold so many things over your head that you feel like you can't move on. And so just imagine Cassie's situation a million times worse. She's used to a certain type of lifestyle. She's already being abused. She's just probably feeling stuck. And I couldn't imagine, but at the same time, if you're in a situation where you're relying on someone to take care of you and they're holding it over your head, if you leave, it's going to be way worse. And they're going to put out different types of tapes of you doing things that you are not proud of. Your family, is not going to be proud seeing you like that. You're going to stay. And mixed with drugs, because she did give testimony that she was on a lot of drugs. That alone was jarring. Like, I was wondering, how did she physically, get out of that? That young lady doesn't look like she's been through half of what, she's been through. And so that just goes to show you that God definitely did have his hands on her. She did suffer some things, as a result of that. You have to follow the testimony and, just, go back, because it's everywhere. And, she, you can hear some of the things that she's had to endure, like some of her memory is gone, just from doing all the drugs, being beat, kicked in the head. It was horrible. But by the time I was done watching that at the end of the week, I was spent. I was spent. You would have thought I was literally on the case. And then, I posted a video a couple weeks ago on Mother's Day to, just showing how busy Seven Brew was. And Seven Brew is a coffee shop. And I had posted that I was going to go to Dunkin's. Girl, I'm so sorry. But anyways, I was just posting how busy it was. And because it was so busy, I was going to go to Dunkin' Donuts. And so I posted the coffee of what I got at Dunkin' Donuts. And it had the tag on there of what I ordered. And a few days later, now I posted this video a couple weeks ago, but a couple days ago, someone commented that I got that coffee and probably went to my sit-down job. And I, in kind, responded that I stand all day. But that would be my friend Jenny, And so the comments just spiraled from there. And 180-some thousand views later, and 2,500 and some likes or whatever, and 50-some comments, I felt like I was being bullied about a coffee that I liked, I ordered, and I had to hear everybody tell me how it was gross and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, okay, these are your opinions. And I respect it. It's valid because that's what you think. But this is the coffee that I ordered and I happen to like it. And so what is the problem? And the crazy part is I had forgot what I even put in my coffee, because ever since I got diagnosed with high blood pressure, when I drink coffee, I really don't put sugar in it anymore. Every now and then when I'm feeling some type of way, I'll do 1 pump of sugar and then whatever flavor I want and 2 creams. And then, but Mother's Day, I was feeling some type of way and I wanted 2 pumps. And to be honest with you, that coffee didn't taste like it had sugar in it at all. So I'm not even thinking anything about the coffee, but I was ripped to shreds about my preference of coffee. So much so, I had to turn the comments off. So that compiled with me just being stressed out and worn out from a case that don't have anything to do with me. My weekend was, I couldn't wait to get to church on Sunday. I was like, you know what? I have invested too much energy into this case. And I was so glad that, Monday was a little bit better. I didn't have a lot of time to invest in, and then I had to go back to work today, and I worked the rest of the week. So I haven't been investing in it like I was all last week, but I was glued to it. But let me know what you guys think about the Diddy case. Let me know if you think he's cooked, he ain't gonna see the light of day, or is this going to be a mistrial and he's going to get off of some of these charges? I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50. I feel like he has a chance to go and he has a chance to kind of walk. Now, I don't think he's going to get all like free. I don't think he's going to get life, and I don't even think he should get life, but who am I? We haven't heard the whole thing. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of people being in, prison unless, they really do need to be in there and all that good stuff. And some people probably think what he did to Cassie was enough to do life. I don't know. Like I said, I know he needs to get something, especially beating her like that and just treating her so inhumane, even if people are saying she knew what she was getting into, I've even heard people say she liked it. That's why she kept coming back. I don't agree with that at all. I do think being on drugs, I've never been on drugs, so I can't speak to that, but I would think being on drugs, having that addiction, that lifestyle, you just kind of get comfortable in that zone. You don't want it, but you're just comfortable. And that's just kind of how she said it. That's kind of how I would imagine it. And then he's so powerful, got all these people around. I would imagine it is hard to be like, I'm leaving, see you later. And the whole time she's saying he's got people to follow her, bring her back, he's beating on her. I don't think it was that easy to just leave. And so for that, he does need a firm smack on the hand, because he wouldn't want no one doing that to his daughters or his sons. But because he has, 4 daughters, I believe, he wouldn't want anyone doing that. 3 or 4 daughters. I don't even know. I've lost count. But anyways, it is graduation season. And I want to touch on, do you have anyone graduating, whether it's college, whether it's high school? Are you an empty nester? My friend and I was talking about empty nesters. Now, my youngest graduated in 2021. So I went through that. I went through that feeling of feeling sad. What am I going to do? I'm feeling like my little best friend is leaving me and all that. And at the end of the day, there is light on the other side of that. But I did have to go to counseling just so I could maneuver through those emotions. Why am I feeling so sad, so down, so like I'm losing something, and you are, in a sense. And I use that term losing something loosely, because they're not going anywhere. I mean, they are, but they're not. But you're mourning that part of that relationship that has grown and is getting ready to go to another level, and so on and so forth. But it's hard to see, the other side of that when you're going through it, when it hurts, when it stings, and you got to send them off and you got to go through that. But it gets better, because in that time, what you need to do is start figuring out who you are all over again. Figure out, who am I outside of being a wife, a mother, figure out who you are. So that way you can, take up some of that time by rediscovering yourself. And it's so easy to get caught up in your children. It's easy to get caught up in your spouse, and your identity becomes the spouse to whomever. You're the mother to your children. And then say a divorce happens. Now you got to rediscover and find out who you are separate from who you were married to. Your kids graduate from school. Now you got to figure out who you are, because your days and nights were structured around your children. And so we sometimes think as mothers, if someone said what your hobby is, you'll think going out to eat with my friends on the weekend, or it's going to the mall, or doing X, Y, and Z. You'll start thinking that's your hobby. Like that's what you do when you're not with your kids. but that's not your hobby. You know, that's something you do when you get a little free time. But that's not really solely who you are, because you know when you're done eating, you know, when the husband comes back from the golf trip or whatever, you're back in routine with your kids. But if there's a divorce, or say your husband got a new job, because it doesn't always have to be a divorce, your kids graduate, that routine is kind of off, because you're not having to cook and have dinner done by 5. You're not doing laundry for your children. You're not doing any of those things because it's changed. So now you got to find something to take up that void. And the best way to do that is start journaling. Write down things that you've always wanted to do, the reasons why you didn't do them. And on the other side of that, you know, paper or book or whatever, write why you can start doing it now, how much time you have available. You know, you get the drift. So I'm saying that because every year someone is going to graduate, and every year somebody's going to be affected with how do I move on in a different capacity, since my children or my spouse has moved on, or whatever the case may be. Take the time to get to know yourself all over again, because the one reason that I do these podcasts is because this is podcast, YouTube videos, whatever you want to call it. I started doing this because I started rediscovering myself, getting off into things that I love and enjoy doing. Obviously, I love to talk, always have, and probably always will. But I started doing the podcast first. I wanted to do the YouTube channel first. Told my mom about it even before she passed. And I remember she asked me what was taking me so long to do it. I was afraid of what people would say if I did it, how it would look on camera. Now, I don't care, because I'm doing what I truly love and enjoy doing. And if only one person watched, I'm great. If no one watched, I'm great. You know why? Because I'm doing what I truly enjoy doing. And when you do what you truly enjoy doing, you don't care if nobody's watching. It's great in and when and if they do, but if they don't, if you truly love doing it, you don't care. You're just doing it. So I have started these YouTube videos in my living room, in my bedroom, in the bathroom, doing get ready with me's or whatever. I've come a long way and taught myself to do a lot of different things. And the reason I was able to do that was because I was able to start focusing on me and start putting that energy that I used to put into. And even though I had 4 children, it was just different because Jada was my youngest, my only daughter, and it was just a different feeling when it came down to her. But I had to start putting me first, in a sense. That doesn't mean you don't love and take care of everybody else, but you do have to put yourself first. So when you put yourself first and make yourself happy, you can help everyone else because you're in a space to do that. But when you pour from an empty cup, which is you, empty, you don't have anything to give, you can't give anything to anyone. And if you are giving something to someone, you're giving not your best, because you're not at your best if you're giving someone your last and your all. That's just not how it's supposed to work. So if you're an empty nester or you're about to be an empty nester, these are just some easy tips. Comment down below if you're an empty nester, some of the things that you did, some of the hobbies you picked up to encourage and inspire someone else that's going through or about to go through what you're going through. Oh, and the next thing I want to talk about is intention. And that kind of goes along with what we was just talking about a few minutes ago, rediscovering yourself and so on and so forth. Being intentional about things. Going back to this little setup, I decided I'm going to be intentional to set up a room designed just for me to come in here and hang out with you guys, talk, whatever the case may be. This is going to be my room designated for these kind of conversations. Will I do videos other places? Absolutely. But this is intentional. I intentionally brought my Everyday Living sign in here, got the lips to go here. And it was the only lips available that I had got when I was at TJ Maxx. So I knew it was for me. It was a sign. But it was intentional that I set it up this way. And it was intentional for me to come in here to do the video. Could I have done it somewhere else? Yes. But I said, I want to make a room specific to this room. And I'm going to put some more stuff and add some more stuff in here. But I said, but I'm going to start now. I'm going to be intentional about starting it right now. And I'm so happy. I'm happy with the little things that are in here. I got my little candle burning, setting the ambiance, if I'm saying it right. Got my little tea. Got my little note cards because it's official. You know, I'm official. But anyways, but it's just to encourage someone. You don't have to start with a whole bunch of all this equipment. For what? Most people don't even start with all that. They end up getting more stuff as they get bigger, or they just want it to be fancy, but you don't need all that, you know? But if you want all that, you can get it. But just being intentional about making yourself happy, doing the things that you enjoy doing, and not worrying about getting the okay from someone else. Because if you wait for people to tell you and give you that look like, girl, go ahead and do it, or dude, go ahead and do it. If you're waiting for someone to give you the okay to be great and to do things that you love to do, you're going to be waiting a long time. And sometimes people will tell you to go ahead and do it. But that's great, but don't wait for them to do that, because that's not their job to tell you when to go do and be great and have fun and yada, yada, yada. But anyways, I just want to jump on here and share that with you guys, because we're in a day that time is moving, and you don't want to be sitting around wishing and hoping you did something um, a long time ago, and then you're, you know, sitting up thinking, you know, why didn't I do that? And you never do it because now you feel like it's too late, when it's never too late. It's never too late to do anything until you are not breathing, you know. But even if it's too late to do certain things, you can inspire someone else to do it. um, and I tell my daughter that all the time. You know, sometimes in life, as parents, caregivers, or whatever, we blaze some of these trails so they don't have to, you know. But these kids these days have that let me see for myself mentality. But sometimes you can inspire and encourage them to do something that you failed at, like budgeting money and so on and so forth. I was a horrible money management person, because at one point I had a lot of it coming in my hands. But at the same time, and not because I was rich or anything like that, but just not budgeting. You know, I just felt like I had all this money to do X, Y, and Z. But as I got older and matured with money and spending and so on and so forth, I'm always telling her, you know, you need to save, you need to do this, you need to do that. I made some of these mistakes. You don't have to make, you know, these kind of mistakes. But sometimes they just, like I said, want to see for themselves. I remember Jada couldn't wait to get a cell phone, but not just any cell phone. She had to have a plan. And so she finally got that plan when she turned 18, and she was living high on the hog with that cell phone. Didn't have a bill for the first month, because that's how they get you. You get all these nice amenities with the phone and so on and so forth. And then that bill comes, and here she comes calling, needing that bill paid. But you couldn't wait. You just couldn't wait and hold on to that one little phone that you had. Let me tell y'all, sis have an iPhone 12. Now, don't get me wrong. I probably need a new phone because my speaker is messed up. I got it wet trying to do content in the shower, had it propped up in the shower, and the speaker got wet. But can I still talk on it? Absolutely. Can I hear on it? I sure can if the person's on speaker or I got my ear piece in. It's not necessary for me to go get a new phone right now. My phone, when it stops working, it'll let me know when I need to go get a new one. And I do have a backup iPhone 8 Plus. I actually like the screen on that better than this one. Same scenario. Was in the shower trying to do content and got the speaker wet. And can I talk on it? I sure can if the person's on speaker and if I have an earpiece in. But again, the old me back in the day would have had a brand new, whatever the newest iPhone would have already had it. Now, what do I need a new iPhone for? This works just fine. This serves the same purpose. But again, you know, when they're at that age, you know, they got to see for themselves, and especially on stuff like that, you know. But I just want to jump on here and connect with you guys. Oh, and I did say a couple months ago I had started this little weight loss journey thing, and I'm still on it. I can see some subtle differences or whatever. Now that the weather's getting warmer, I'm going to be doing a little bit more power walking, even though my ankle is still in a dill pickle. But if you're starting a weight loss journey, or you're on a weight loss journey and you feel like you're at a plateau, or you're just feeling stuck, or you feel like you've, you know, fell off a little bit, you probably was eating some stuff you shouldn't have been eating, stick with it. Get back on the horse, because you're gonna do fine. You're gonna have those days. Not to give you guys too much TMI, but I have the Mirena, and you would probably think, why? You're 50. You know, you don't need that right now. But I do have it, and I got it because of my cramps were hellacious. But I still get those PMS symptoms and all that. And around that time, I get bloated. I gain a few extra pounds, and I just feel like, ugh. And it's at that moment that I'm like, I don't see any difference. I feel like I look whatever, and it's okay. You know, I feel good on the inside. I feel good about the progress I have made. There are things that I can fit in now that I couldn't prior to starting. I'm probably going to always be busty. And I'm not going to lie to you. I really didn't want my chest to get so flat and lose so much weight where, you know, I lose a little of my volume or anything. It's a blessing to have healthy boobs, you know. So that's why I don't make a big deal about how big they are. I mean, at one point I did. Sometimes I will, especially if I'm, you know, trying to wear something like, ooh, if these were down a little bit. But I'm so grateful that I'm healthy. They're healthy. I don't make it a big deal if they are sticking out a little bit too much, because here's the reality. Some of these ladies are out here paying for these sizes. But I just said all that to say, you know, I am still plugging away at it, but it's just not a focal point. I'm just doing it, moving on. If there's a day that I don't feel so great, you know, we get past that. If there's a day that I'm like, okay, I'm craving, I will say this, McDonald's French fries, it don't matter what kind of diet you're on, you're always going to crave those things. And I will crave McDonald's fries, and I may even go attempt to get a small one. You know how many I eat out of them? 4. Can't even finish them. Before, the whole little baby pack would have been gone. But I don't have the taste like I used to for them. But that craving, the smell of them will make me think I want some fries, and I'll do it and won't even eat them because the taste for them isn't like it used to be. And so, what else do I have on my cards? I talked about my setup and engagement. I want us to engage more. Sometimes people don't like engaging. I'm on a lot of YouTuber channels, and I'm always engaging. I follow a lot of YouTubers, Quan, Rissa, Hazel and Milo, and these are younger content creators, but I'm inspired by them, even if it's silly little things. I'm like, wow, that's cute that they do that, you know, just different little things. And I put myself in their shoes, and when I was that age, how was I? Where was my mindset? And it's just interesting to watch some of these YouTubers grow and have families from when you first start watching, when they didn't have any kids, to now. And those are just a few. I like Trish and Cam. It's a lot of YouTubers that I engage with, even my age, you know. But I'm inspired by everyone. So, you know, it doesn't have an age on who can inspire you. I heard TD Jakes say this, which I know a lot of people may not be a fan of TD Jakes, but I like TD Jakes. And his messages have gotten me through some times, even as recent as a couple weeks ago. But he said something when I was listening to his sermon on Sunday. I think it was an old one, but he said, a person can have more degrees than a thermometer and influence no one. So people don't have to have all these accolades to be influential. And I'm going to leave with this. This might be before some of y'all time, but there was this commercial, and I mentioned this before. It's a dummy commercial. They was doing a crash course to show you the importance of wearing your seatbelt. And so they put the dummies in the crash course, and they show you the benefit of wearing your seatbelt. What language was that? I don't know. Wearing your seatbelt and the effects of not having your seatbelt on. So they showed the example both ways. And then, you know, the slogan was, you can learn a lot from a dummy. And that is true. You know, some of the most uneducated people, the maybe the most not knowledgeable people or whatever, they can say something and inspire you. Even if it's for them to inspire you to not do what they did. or, you know, or to do something different. You know, you can learn a lot from a lot of people. But I'm glad you guys joined me. I'm glad you guys took some time out of your night to hang out with me. And I look forward to us doing this again. Again, subscribe, like, and share if you care. No pressure. If you have something that you want to talk about, put it in the comments and we can talk about it. If it's something you want to see, you want to see me do, talk about, cook, whatever, do not be afraid to put it down in the comments. And I'll do that within reason. Also, if you don't want to put it in the comments because you don't want everybody knowing you asking something, or you, like I said, I sell t-shirts, oils, all that. If you don't want anybody to buy, if you don't want anyone to know that you want to buy something, you can DM me, message me, email me, rayetmays814@gmail.com, because people are weird like that. I'll have giveaways, and sometimes people will DM me, put my name in the giveaway, or sometimes people just don't, because, you know, they don't like doing giveaways. They don't like being in giveaways. I love being in giveaways, but if I see it's a million and trillion people entering it, I won't even attempt it, because I'm already feeling like my chances are very slim, because there's a million other people or thousands of other people trying to get that same thing. So that's the only reason why I don't get into them a lot. And they make them so hard. Click here, go to this, link in this, and da 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 da. By the time I do all that, I don't want to get in the giveaway. My giveaways are very easy and very simple. And I've got one coming up here soon, so stay tuned for that. But I'm glad you guys joined me. And until the next episode, we're going to come in here and talk about it.